I don't know how I did it, but I actually set a death date last year for this young man who had murdered. It was a senseless murder out there. Remember the one out at Cumbie? His name was Joey Reese. And I set his death date, and they called me a few days later and said, that's really not a good date. And I said, why not? They said, it's his birthday. I said, oh my goodness. How did I do that? I mean, out of all 365 days, I picked his birthday. So we really did. We thought, well, some of the people will jump on that and the press will be bad and everything. So what we did is we just reset the date for another month later, and everything worked out like it was supposed to. But I mean, he was well deserving of the death penalty. But he was another young man, 18 or 19, when he committed the offense.
What else?
Let's see.
We usually have a blackboard.
We probably have some questions. Anybody? All right. And what we'll do, Chad, if it's all right, we can run these around, or we can repeat the question.
Okay. What is the difference between your judgeship and McDowell?
Okay. The difference between my judgeship and Judge McDowell's judgeship is that Judge McDowell has 4 different counties, of course. He shares 3 of his with me, Hopkins, Delta, and Franklin. Then he has Lamar County. He does some criminal and a lot of civil cases, and I do a lot of criminal cases, and he does some civil, and we actually did that on our own. It's not like something constitutional. I love the criminal. I always have. Since I was a little kid, I loved. Didn't y'all like to play cops and robbers? Well, I still get to play that, see? And so it's a lot of fun to get to do that, and so I find that fun and entertaining and enjoyable. Every day I go to work and I've got a different kind of a case. So it's really an enjoyable every day to see what facts make up a certain case, why people act like they do, and why not very understandable most of the time, trying to understand people. And I also have had an opportunity, and I'll talk about that right now a little bit, about our probation system. I would say that a lot of people, especially their first offense, get a crack at probation. And probation we've seen some amazing things happen through our probation office, which John Perry, David Perry, David Hollis, just different ones. You would know a lot of those. We've seen amazing transformation of lives. Not all of them by any means. They have a chance, though, to turn their lives around, and we've seen some amazing things happen, really good things, where their lives were never the same, and they've actually turned their lives around. And when we see that, it's really, really rewarding. And so we're working through recovery groups. How many of you heard of the recovery groups? All right. Well, yes. Okay. The recovery groups are a faith-based opportunity for our felons and misdemeanors to go to. And I send a lot of people to the recovery programs, and I think you do as well, Judge.
As well. We do have, and this is uncontrovertible, we have the best probation department in the state of Texas, period. Don't we?
Well, I hate to brag, but actually the people in Austin came up a while back.
They even acknowledged
and actually examined us and went through our books and everything, and they came up with saying similar things. So that's a real honor. That's our goal, is to be the best, but to reach people and see people's lives changed. We also have some other programs that are faith-based, and we find, as you have in your life, faith-based actually works. With a permanent result, not just a temporary result. So when I say faith-based, I mean actually they have an opportunity to go into a program with a religious origin, usually Christianity, and lives are changed. And so we're really excited about it. We keep it pretty low-key. I told the guys, I said, I don't care how much success we have, keep it low-key, because I don't want they don't want all those ACLUs and all our friends there to come down and visit with us. We'd rather just see lives changed and receive not too much people knowing too much about it, but it has happened, and we're seeing some great things happen. So it's been a huge blessing in my life.
All right. I can't tell you what I do, except I am usually the one that I think mine can be harder than his. I mean,
well, you get all those family law cases.
I get all those family law cases, yeah. And
people fighting over children, people fighting each other.
You make no one happy, no one. I mean, and yet you try to be very fair about it. But and these are people unlike his, and give me a good criminal any day, I'll get off. But these are not bad people. These are people whose lives have fallen apart, and sometimes not even for their own, it just happens. It happens tragically, and of course the ones that are in the middle are the children. And if you're in a family law case, you'll notice that the judge is always asking, well, what is in the best interest of the children? That is, and our legislature, thank heavens, have realized that that is the primary goal when you have children involved in a family. What is in the child's best interest? So it does give some discretion in being a mom, and I would rather put a child with a loving parent than maybe the one with the most money or the one with the most, cars or something. But you'd be surprised, it's not always the woman. Sometimes, and thank heavens, I'm glad to see this change. And it used to be the mother who was the caregiver. But now I'm seeing, and the law allows me to and requires me to, look at dad. And I have lately, through these years, started seeing dad come forward as the true caregiver of a kid. And I think that's very important. I mean, mom can go out and work too, and if she doesn't want to do that. And but the child, I wish we could go back, and I shouldn't say this. I should not say this. This does not. Are we on air? Probably. But I do wish we had a time when a parent, usually the mother, was home with the child, because these children are at risk. These children are at risk, and through no fault of their own, and sometimes no fault of their parents, because their parents have to make a living. Let's face it, that. But it's a hard job, and it's. I've got one tomorrow that I've got 3 attorneys that I know they're going to fight real hard, but that's their job. And if I ever got in trouble, I'd want one fighting for me, wouldn't you, Judge?
Yeah, that's right. And but you know what? One of the things, and Erwin's going to have a question here in a minute, but everybody thinks if I could just get the highest paid attorney, I would win. But that's maybe true this % of the time. Most of the time, it's the facts that make a difference in a case, whether it's a jury trial or a judge trial. I go by the facts, even though the attorneys sometimes are very, very persuasive, and that's their job. But perhaps some attorneys do win the close ones because they have a little more expertise. But usually, it's the facts of the case. Erwin, you had a question.
I actually have 2 questions, and so you each can take one. Could one of you tell us the difference between a city attorney, a county attorney, and a district attorney, and what their jurisdictions are? And also, could you walk us through the criminal process using an example of, say, someone stealing a car?
Okay.
And it's only probation and prison.
Would you do the first question?
Yes, I will. And you do because stealing cars is in your realm.
Okay.
Okay.
See, Mark and I are both catching it tonight. Okay, go ahead.
All right.
I'll see you at the bar later, and we'll talk about stealing cars, okay?
I'm so sorry I said that. Okay. The process is, believe it or not, your city judge, Phyllis Rogers, used to work at the DA's office. She doesn't have a law degree. She doesn't have anything except just real good common sense. And she is, I think, hired by the city, is she not, Judge? Okay. So there's your city attorney, and she does Class C traffic. If you get a speeding ticket, you'll go to her court first. You can appeal it to mine if you want to. And then, and really in line with her are the 2 justices of the peace. We call them the People's Court, And the JPs are usually here, Class C misdemeanors outside in the county. They hear things like forcible entry and detainer suits, and up to $10,000 now. Is that what their jurisdiction is? Those small suits where a lot of people represent themselves. Now, they're not attorneys either. They don't have a law degree. At least ours don't. Doesn't mean you can't be an attorney. It just means ours are not. Then you go to the county attorney, county judge. I keep saying attorney.
And they're interested in the county attorney also.
Okay.
So
county attorney hears my misdemeanor cases. District attorney is the felon. Okay, felony cases. So the county attorney comes to my court. Most of the time, because we do the A and B misdemeanors, and we're good. Somebody said one time, those women, they really know what they're doing. Well, it's because we have a huge volume, and Dusty's good at what she does, and we have to get through it. It's
That'd
a
be
little bit-
Dusty Raby. Most of you
Dusty
know her, I'm sure.
Raby.
Yes.
And it's a little bit less than the felonies. The boys have the felonies, and they can have the felonies.